Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today's video is going to be all about how I finally achieved the physique that I wanted and also achieved balance and mental and physical health all at the same time. I have been through it all. If you guys have been following my channel, I've been through a million different types of fitness and health journeys, and not all of them in retrospect have been the most fit and healthy. So these are essentially my latest and greatest tips that I can share with you guys. Sorry if you can hear the air conditioner, it just kicked in, but I wanted to share them with you because I feel like these are the most sustainable and genuinely helpful tips that have actually helped me to, I hate to say tone up, but honestly tone up and achieve the physique that I wanted without having to be restrictive and without having to diet and without having to do anything drastic while still enjoying my life. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know what a girl be living. Like I do not restrict, I don't cut out food groups. Anyways, I'll get to that in a minute. The number one thing that I started doing was I stopped restricting with food. Instead of going keto or going low carb or going vegan or whatever it may be at the time, I have just realized that I actually am so much more satisfied without having to overdo it when I just eat what it is that I want. When I'm at home, I prioritize making healthy, balanced meals. I always have a source of protein, I have a veggie, I have a healthy carb, I have a healthy fat. Like I really try to get in my nutrients when I'm at home. But when I want to go out, I don't want to have to order a salad every single time because I think that that's what I need to do in order to achieve my fitness goals. What ended up happening to me before was I would consume the entire salad and then still be craving something else afterwards because I just wouldn't be satisfied from that meal. Versus now, I order what I want. If I want a big club sandwich, I'll get it. If I want French toast instead of an egg white omelet, I will get that. And I just eat what I want until satiety, and then I'm good. I'm not craving that thing anymore. Also, I've realized that I've heard a lot of people say this recently, and I've realized it's something that I've also been doing, and it's don't think about what you can take away from your life, focus on what you can add. So for example, instead of being like I'm cutting out carbs, think about if, let's say, half of your plate before was carbs at dinner, think about how you can add a serving of veggies to that or add a healthy fat. So instead of it being like a piece of protein and then a mound of carbs, add some sauteed broccolini with some healthy olive oil and a little bit of lemon and maybe a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. That would be a really great way to add in veggies that still taste delicious, and you can still have your sweet potato or your rice or whatever on the side of that meal, but you don't have to take it away, if that makes sense. So maybe you might be consuming a smaller portion of it because now you're also adding in those vegetables on the side. Oh, guys, the freaking garbage truck's here again. Do you hear that shit? Like, dude, I literally can't. I live behind restaurants, and so there's always some kind of shenanigans going on. Focus on abundance rather than taking away. Just thinking, oh my god, now I get to eat so many new healthy foods that I've never been able to try, and incorporate those into my life and still have my other favorite things, but in moderation, if that makes sense. My next tip is to actually eat meals. I don't do this every day. Like I don't force myself to eat a solid breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day if I'm not feeling it. But if I'm actually hungry, instead of just grazing and having a bunch of different random little snacks, I still do that sometimes, but for the most part, I try to actually sit down, have a real balanced full meal, and I feel like I am so much more satisfied, full, not constantly thinking about, oh my god, what's the next snack I'm gonna eat, and I just have that meal and keep it pushing. Whereas before, when I was dieting, I thought that I had to have these small, tiny little 200 calorie meals, 300 calorie meals, whatever, and I thought that that was what I needed to do in order to lose weight. Whereas in reality, like, and the thought of like a really big meal would scare me, versus now I'm like, if I just eat until I'm full, then I don't have to think about food at all until I'm hungry again, which won't be for hours because you actually fuel your body. Then you have energy to do things, you're not lethargic, you can actually go and be active and enjoy your life and live your life and not constantly be thinking about like, oh crap, it's been an hour and I'm hungry again. Which is not to say that I don't still snack and have those days where I'm kind of a grazer, because I am naturally like that, so I don't want to like completely, like if that's intuitive to me that day, then I will still do that. But for the most part, I think it's a combination of knowing yourself and knowing your body and what makes you feel good. but also knowing what's gonna be better for you long term, maybe throughout that day or just in general. I find that having like a really substantial good meal, especially to start out your day, is really, really important. My next tip is something that I feel like might be the most important one, and it's one that I've had to teach myself and to learn on my own, because growing up, I lived in a household where if you didn't clean your plate every single time you sat down to eat, it was rude. Like my mom would say, she would always joke and say, we're a member of the Clean Plate Society, like if she would make my friends to finish their food, and she meant well. Like I think when you come from a place of, you know, this is kind of a touchy subject, but food insecurity, growing up in Russia and then emigrating to the US, we had, you know, even when we weren't so well off when I was growing up, we still had what was an abundance of food to my mom. And so she wanted to make sure that we were always fueled and we were always eating, and she kind of instilled in me that I always had to finish my plate. And so every time I would sit down, no matter what it was, I always thought if there was food in front of me, I have to eat all of it. And so this next tip is the most important. You can honestly throw away all the other tips that I share with you today if you just take this one thing into consideration. Rather than focusing on what the food is, what type of food, blah, 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 focus on how you feel, how that food makes you feel. And I don't want to say how much, because that can sound restrictive, but focus when you're eating, try to eat mindfully. And it was something that was really tough for me because I would always sit down with like a TV show or something. And now that I've kind of mastered mindful and intuitive eating and my own hunger and satiety cues, I feel like I can sit down and watch TV and know when to stop eating my food and not feel like super distracted. But I would say it's so helpful to eliminate distractions when you're eating and really focus on, okay, how much of this makes me feel full? How much of this makes me feel full? You know, like, am I satisfied? Do I still want more? And it's okay to go back for seconds. It's okay to still want more, but you'll know that, and you'll start to realize that as you keep going throughout this fitness and health journey. You'll start to realize how much you need to actually feel full. For example, I need a lot less of like a big stir fry with rice and a lot of vegetables and oil and sauce to feel full than I need of like an egg white omelet. I will probably finish that whole egg white omelet, and I know that when I'm cooking for myself now, because like I will make the portions according to what I know I can probably finish. Do I always finish it? No. Sometimes I go back for more, but I start to know my body and know what will make me full and make me satisfied. And it's harder when you go out to eat, but you still, like, I found myself realizing it's fine, the food will be there. Like, you can save it for tomorrow and nothing's gonna happen. Like, you don't have to eat that food all the time. And this goes back to my other tip where you stop restricting foods. And once you stop restricting food groups like junk food, carbs, sugar, alcohol, all of that kind of stuff, it stops becoming such a novelty, and you don't feel the need to scarf it all down at once and then feel horrible on the inside afterwards. Another thing is like paying attention to how foods make you feel. And do you feel energy? Do you feel lethargic? Like, sometimes you have a food that's so delicious and it's a treat food and you feel satisfied on the inside and you feel like your soul was nourished. Also, at the same time, you can kind of realize, well, you know, my soul feels nourished, but I kind of feel like crap right now. Like, I feel very lethargic. I feel like low energy. And you can take that into consideration next time. That doesn't mean you need to avoid that food. That just means, let's say if you have a really busy day and you need a lot of energy, maybe don't eat that food, you know? Maybe opt for something else that you find gives you a ton of energy. And lastly, my final tip is to stop forcing yourself to work out. I have realized it does so much more harm than good. When I was forcing myself to exercise, I would get off a red-eye flight, go to work, and then come home and still like chug an energy drink of like 200 milligrams of caffeine, or take pre-workout and then go and force myself to work out. And I would wonder why I'm not achieving results, why I'm always tired, why I had like no energy, always tired, no energy, same thing, why I'm always hungry, why I'm craving food, and I felt puffy, I felt just awful. And I've realized if I need to chug an energy drink, this is kind of like my rule of thumb, if I need to chug an energy drink right now just to get through a workout, I probably shouldn't be working out. I can go, if I feel like moving and I'm not super tired, I can go for a walk. I can do some light stretching. I can do some yoga. I can do whatever I feel will benefit my body, genuinely benefit my body, not just make me burn calories or make me skinny, because it won't. It honestly, you will probably feel worse you will probably eat all of that food back because your hunger is going to be like, your hormones and your hunger is going to be all out of whack, and you're going to feel exhausted. You're going to feel like crap. The whole point of your fitness journey, guys, I want to hammer this into your head, is making choices that will benefit you in the long run. Longevity. Honestly, slow and steady wins the race with this, and I've learned that the hard way. Every time I made choices that were actually like crash dieting or over exercising or anything like that weren't sustainable, I gained all the weight back. And so then I was back to square one, feeling defeated, feeling annoyed, feeling like, oh, what was all of that pain and suffering for when I just gained all the weight back? Longevity and small sustainable changes over quick fixes through and through. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I feel like these are my absolute diehard top tips, and if you guys have any other video requests, please leave them down below, and I would be happy to get to them as well. Love you guys. Bye.